Hi, and thank you for joining the Licensing Expert Series focused on licensing Windows Server 2012. This series is geared towards customers who would like licensing expertise on volume licensing program fundamentals, key topics of interest, and recent product licensing changes. It is geared towards IT and procurement professionals. For this course, we'll be reviewing current IT trends. We'll be giving you an understanding of Windows Server editions and licensing those editions, as well as migration scenarios if you're currently on an early edition. Please be sure to stay through the entire course, as at the end of the course you'll have the opportunity to go back to Microsoft Virtual Academy and test your knowledge and gain points to becoming a Microsoft licensing expert. My name is Deb Bannon. I'm with Worldwide Licensing and Pricing, and I'm here with Bob Mixa, who will be walking you through the details of licensing Windows Server 2012. I'll turn it over to Bob.
IT transformation. Let's take a look at the trends unfolding in the market and how the trends affect IT. First, at the industry level, there's a fundamental shift toward cloud computing, and that means there's a new breed of applications that need to be built. New apps need to be able to reach cloud scale, be accessible 24/7 from anywhere, and they need to be deployable on premises, in the cloud, and in hybrid environments. These applications are accessible on an increasing variety of compute devices that enable a mobile work style. The demand for ubiquitous application with access to data from anywhere and to anywhere is driving a data explosion which will continue to grow sharply in the future. And finally, of course, the entire way computing is being done is changing. Cloud computing has replaced the tradition of tying specific application to specific servers and the concept of pooled resources, compute, network, and storage that enable IT to deploy applications as elastic self-service services. These trends are driving the need for increased compute capabilities, for higher performance storage at lower cost, and for high-speed networking capabilities. All these innovations enable IT to run well-managed and efficient data center operations. With Windows Server 2012, customers receive the capabilities they need to meet today's transforming IT. Windows Server 2012 takes you beyond virtualization by offering dynamic, multi-tenant infrastructure that goes beyond virtualization technology to complete platform for being a private cloud. And it delivers the power of many servers with the simplicity of one, providing excellent economics by integrating a high availability and easy to manage multiple server platform. Windows Server 2012 opens the door to every app on any cloud. Windows Server 2012 is a broad, scalable, and elastic web and application platform that gives you the flexibility to build and deploy applications on premises, in the cloud, and in hybrid environments through a consistent set of tools and frameworks. And Windows Server 2012 enables the modern work style by empowering IT to provide users with flexible access to data and applications anywhere on any device, and with simplifying management and maintaining security, control, and compliance. Windows Server 2012 is cloud optimized, offering a new and enhanced feature. Let's review the editions of Windows Server 2012. Windows Server 2012 is available in 4 editions designed to suit a variety of customer needs. Data Center and Standard are ideal for private cloud, while Essentials and Foundation are optimal for small businesses. Windows Server 2012 Data Center will continue to be the ideal edition for highly virtualized private and hybrid cloud environments, providing customers with unlimited virtualization rights and all the enhanced and new features of Windows Server 2012. The licensing for Data Center will continue to follow a processor plus CAL model. However, now each license will cover up to 2 physical processors on a server. Windows Server 2012 Standard is ideal for physical computing or lightly virtualized environments, providing customers with an additional virtual instance than the previous version for a total of 2 virtual instances along with all the same features as Data Center Edition. The licensing for Standard is now the same as Data Center with a processor plus CAL model, with each license covering up to 2 physical processors on a server. Windows Server 2012 Essentials is a cloud-connected first server, ideal for small businesses with up to 25 users, providing customers with the flexibility to have email in the cloud, run line of business applications, or run email on premises. The licensing for Essentials will continue to be server model with no CAL requirements. And finally, Windows Server 2012 Foundation is an economical, general-purpose server for physical computing environments only. It provides customers with a Windows Server experience for up to 15 users. The licensing for Foundation will continue to be a server model with no CAL requirements. Let's look at licensing the new editions of Windows Server 2012. This table provides a licensing overview where both Data Center and Standard Edition share a common licensing model, with each license covering up to 2 processors and requiring CAL or Client Access License for any user or device that accesses an instance of the server software. Again, these 2 models are optimized for cloud computing. Essentials and Foundation Editions are server licenses. Essential covers up to 2 processors and Foundation covers 1 processor. Again, these models are ideally suited for small businesses. All editions of Windows Server 2012 provide flexible, simple, cost-effective licensing option with greater value tailored to meet the growing demands of IT today and in the future. Flexible licensing facilitates buying and managing licenses easily for both on-premise and cloud. A simplified licensing model helps streamline assignment and management of licenses, and cost-effective solutions provide organizations with options that can be customized based on usage. Now let's review the cloud-optimized Windows Server 2012 editions for Data Center and Standard. Windows Server 2012 Core Editions, Data Center and Standard are both private cloud optimized solutions providing all the same features and capabilities and cost-effective virtualization options. Data Center is ideal for highly virtualized environment as it provides for unlimited virtualization. This edition is ideally suited for rapidly growing businesses with high-density virtualization needs. Standard Edition is optimal for low-density environments or for those without virtualization needs, as each license provides for 2 virtual instances. Both Windows Server 2012 Data Center and Standard Edition are only differentiated by virtualization rights. Data Center provides for unlimited virtualization, and Standard provides customers with 2 virtual instances with each license. Both editions share a common licensing structure based on a processor plus CAL model, where each license will cover up to 2 physical processors on a single server. There is no difference in the available features of these 2 editions, since Standard Edition now has all the same features that were previously only available in the Data Center Edition. It's important to note that every user or device that accesses an instance of Windows Server 2012 requires a CAL or Client Access License, which are designated for use exclusively with a particular server. There are 2 types of CALs, device and user CALs. Customers can select the most economical CAL based on their particular scenario. A device CAL is an access license required for every device used by any user. Device CALs are most appropriate for customers with multiple users accessing an instance of Windows Server on a single device, such as shift workers, while a user CAL which is an access license required for every named user accessing the server from any device, is most appropriate for a customer with many roaming employees who need access to the corporate network from unknown devices and/or employees who access the network via multiple devices. When considering whether to purchase device or user CALs, if the number of users that will access an instance of Windows Server is less than the number of devices, then it's more economical choice to select user CALs. There are two licensing models for CALs. First is the per user or per device mode, which is determined by the number of users or devices accessing the server software, where the number of servers accessed does not matter. And the second is the per server mode, which is determined by the maximum number of users or devices that may simultaneously access or use the server software running on a particular server. You may have noticed that the description of our new licensing model sounds familiar. This is because we have adopted the same model as System Center 2012, creating a consistent licensing experience across our private cloud. Both System Center 2012 and Windows Server 2012 are available in two editions: Standard for non- or lightly virtualized environments, and Data Center for highly virtualized environments. They both have the same licensing model, a processor license that covers up to 2 physical processors on a server, and both editions of the products have the same capabilities. Once again, the only differentiator between the editions will be the virtualization rights. Standard Edition provides 2 virtual instances with each license, and Data Center, again, offers unlimited virtualization with each license. For customers with Windows Server 2008, let us now review the difference between the previous and the new version for Windows Server 2012. For those familiar with the prior edition of Windows Server 2008 R2, you will recognize Data Center, Enterprise, and Standard Edition shown here. The licensing model provided flexibility by offering a variety of edition and features. Data Center offered a per-processor licensing model with all available features and unlimited virtualization, while Enterprise Edition was available as a server license that permitted up to 4 virtual instances and offered some advanced features. Standard Edition was available as a server license and had limited features and provided for 1 virtual instance. With today's simplified model, customers can select the edition of Windows Server 2012 based on their specific virtualization needs, while still having access to the same features across both editions. For high-density virtualization, Data Center is ideal. For low-density or no virtualization environments, Standard is ideal. Both Windows Server 2012 Data Center and Standard Edition include several improvements to their capabilities and licensing. While with Windows Server 2008 R2 Data Center and Standard Editions had different capabilities, Windows Server 2012 Edition both share the same improvements in capability. Both editions benefit from the same increased processor support and memory and other features, and again, are only differentiated by virtualization rights, offering the same premium features set in both Standard and Data Center licenses. Customers are able to downgrade their bits to a previous version or edition of Windows Server. As always, customers that have Data Center Edition will be able to downgrade to any previous version or edition. Customers with Windows Server 2012 Standard Edition can downgrade to any previous version of Standard Edition, Enterprise, or Essentials. Customers with Windows Server 2012 Data Center can downgrade to any previous version of any edition. It is important to remember that downgrade rights allow a customer to downgrade the bits only, but the license rules of the purchase version still apply. For example, if a customer wants to downgrade from Windows Server 2012 Standard Edition to Windows Server 2008 R2 Enterprise Edition, they can run the Enterprise bits. However, the license will cover 2 processors and allow for 2 virtual instances. The bits of Windows Server 2008 R2 are available for download on the Volume Licensing Server Center site. Other bits for other versions are not available. For customers with Windows Server 2008, let us now review the difference between the previous and the new version for 2012. Now let's take a look at the options that are available to customers who need to closely manage their growth. Customers can increase or grow their virtualization instances in 2 ways. For those customers that want to have a lightly virtualized environment, they can choose to assign multiple standard edition licenses to a single server, often referred to as stacking licenses. With each standard license they assign to a server, a customer will be able to increase their virtualization rights by 2. This ensures a constant price per instance and controlled, budgeted growth. Or customers with active software assurance that want to move towards a highly virtualized environment can use their step-up benefit to move from Standard Edition to Data Center Edition. Customers should remember that they can only step up 1 license for 1 license. If a customer knows that they will eventually have a highly virtualized environment, they should consider moving to Data Center Edition instead of stacking standard licenses in the short term. This will enable them to grow as quickly as they need without having to purchase additional licenses and without having additional standard licenses remaining when they are ready to step up to Data Center. Let us now look at the additional benefits provided to software assurance customers. For those customers with active software assurance at general availability of Windows Server 2012 received equal or greater value than what they previously had. Let's look at the value made available to software assurance customers with each transition. Customers that had 2 data center licenses received 1 Windows Server 2012 data center license. Remember that each data center license previously only covered 1 processor, and a Windows Server 2012 data center license covers 2 processors. Customers that had Standard Edition received 1 license of Windows Server 2012 Standard Edition for each license, receiving greater value in features and an additional virtual instance. You will notice that as part of our simplified model, some editions have been retired. For every 1 enterprise license that a customer had with SA, they received 2 standard edition licenses, ensuring that they receive improved features while still having 4 virtualization instances that they have today. Every 2 licenses of Web Server Edition a customer had, they received 1 edition of Windows Server 2012 Standard. Since many customers are virtualizing web, they receive the same number of virtual instances, plus they now have access to all the product features and the ability to run more than just web workloads. In addition, these customers will be able to run their web server licenses in addition to their granted Standard Edition license. For every 1 Windows HPC server suite a customer had, they received 1 edition of Windows Server 2012 Standard, providing customers with access to all the product features, an additional virtual instance, and the ability to run more than just HPC workloads. In addition, these customers are able to run their HPC license in addition to their granted Standard Edition license. Note, as you may know, Windows HPC Server Suite consists of 2 HPC products, Windows Server HPC Edition and Microsoft HPC PAC Enterprise. If a customer purchased these individually with SA, they received a grant of Windows Server 2012 for every 2 licenses they have. It's important to note that software assurance step-up benefit only allows the exchange of 1 license for 1 license. A customer who wants to step up from an existing standard license can only step up 1 standard for 1 data center. Deb review in greater detail a few migration scenarios for software assurance customers.
Great, thanks Bob. In preparation for the assessment at the end of the course, I thought it would be helpful just to see some scenarios for customer examples. In this scenario, customer A has software assurance on their Windows Server 2008 R2 standard licenses and is running a lightly virtualized environment taking advantage of the basic features of the product. As a benefit of software assurance, customer A is granted one new license of Windows Server 2012 standard for each Windows Server 2008 R2 standard license and receives the benefit of an additional virtual instance with each license. Additionally, this customer receives substantial value in the features available with the license grant for Windows Server 2012. In scenario B, this customer with active software assurance on their Windows Server 2008 R2 Enterprise licenses is running a lightly virtualized environment taking advantage of premium high availability features of the product. As a benefit of software assurance, the customer is granted two new licenses of Windows Server 2012 standard for each Windows Server 2008 R2 Enterprise license and receives the benefit of the premium high availability features inherent with Windows Server 2012. In this last scenario, a customer with active software assurance on their Windows Server 2008 R2 data center licenses is running a highly virtualized environment taking advantage of the premium high availability features of the product. As a benefit of software assurance, this customer is granted one new license of Windows Server 2012 standard for two Windows Server 2008 R2 data center licenses and receives the benefit of the premium high availability features inherent with Windows Server 2012, such as improvements in Hyper-V, storage, networking, PowerShell Server Manager, and more. With that, I'm going to have Bob wrap up this course and give you an overview of the small business versions, Essentials, and Foundation editions for Windows Server 2012.
Thanks, Deb. For the small business market, Microsoft continues to offer the same licensing and pricing model for Essentials and Foundation editions. The Windows Small Business 2011 Essentials is now Windows Server 2012 Essentials. Essentials continues to be the ideal first server for a small business packed with new features and capabilities targeted for the small business. The licensing model continues to be a per server model limited to 2 procs and a 25 user account limit and a 50 device limit. The Essentials server does not provide rights to host any virtual instances but can be virtualized, meaning that the license offers the option to either run the instance in a physical environment or in a virtual environment, but not in both. Foundation Edition is only available through OEM channel and is a general purpose server. Windows Server 2012 Essentials is the ideal solution for customers who previously ordered either Small Business Server 2011 Essentials or Small Business 2011 Standard. Customers who previously relied on SBS 2011 Essentials to leverage cloud computing for applications and messaging and collaboration services can now rely on Windows Server 2012 Essentials and other Microsoft solutions such as Office 365, Hosted Exchange, and other online apps and services as well. Customers who previously purchased SBS 2011 Standard can now leverage cloud-based apps and services with Windows Server 2012 Essentials and other Microsoft solutions and online apps and services. Customers with active software assurance at general availability of Windows Server 2012 received equal or greater value than what they previously had. Let's walk through each transition. Customers that had one license of Windows SBS 2011 Essentials received 1 license of Windows Server 2012 Essentials. You will notice that as part of our simplified model, some editions have been retired. Customers that had Windows SBS 2011 Standard received 1 license of Windows Server 2012 Standard Edition for each license and 1 license of Exchange Server 2010 Standard. For every 1 Windows SBS Premium add-on license that a customer had, they received 1 Server 2012 Standard Edition and 1 SQL Server 2012 Standard. CALs also received migration grants for our SA customers. SBS CAL gets Windows Server CAL plus Exchange Server Standard CAL, and SBS Premium Add-on CAL gets SQL Server 2012 CAL only. CALs also receive migration grants for each software assurance customer. 1 Windows Server 2008 CAL receives 1 Windows Server 2012 CAL. See our diagram for details. Customers with 1 SBS 2011 CAL suite or Premium Suite receive 1 Windows Server 2012 CAL plus Exchange or Windows Server 2012 CAL plus SQL Server 2012 CAL in the Premium migration. As with Data Center and Standard Editions, customers will be able to continue to downgrade their bits to a previous version or edition of Windows Server. Customers with Windows Server 2012 Standard Edition, customers will be able to downgrade to the previous version of Standard or New with this release, Enterprise Edition. And customers with Windows Server 2012 Essentials will be able to downgrade their bits to any previous version of Essentials. And now let me turn it over to Deb for next steps.
Great, thanks Bob. That was a really informative course for customers that are looking to purchase Windows Server 2012. As we close out the presentation, let's look at the 3 things that we covered. We covered the transformation that's happening in IT today. We've gone through the 2 primary Windows Server editions, as well as the 2 editions that are geared for small business. And we've talked about migration scenarios. For next steps, it's important to go ahead and take the associated exam for this course to test out your knowledge. You can find that exam on Microsoft Virtual Academy by going back to the same page where you reached this course. By taking the assessment, you'll be able to get credit for your knowledge and reach Microsoft Licensing Expert status. We'll be developing more courses as product launches, as well as unique courses based on customer needs. So go ahead and stay tuned to those courses through Microsoft.com/licensing. We appreciate your time in taking this course, and we hope to see you again soon on Microsoft Virtual Academy. Thanks so much.